The talk show studio was electric with anticipation as Jimmy Kimmel strode onto the stage to thunderous applause. The audience, expecting another lighthearted interview, had no idea they were about to witness one of the most explosive confrontations in television history. Jimmy Kimmel, known for his sharp tongue and penchant for provocation, flashed a smile, but there was something cold, almost predatory, in his eyes. This night was supposed to be a routine promotion for the new film Shadows of Empire, but instead, it became a lesson in respect, dignity, and the price one pays for crossing the line. Before we dive into the story, drop a comment to let us know where you're watching from, and don't forget to subscribe to catch the latest stories. The applause erupted as Jimmy took the stage, waving his arms like a conductor. "Welcome to Jimmy Kimmel Live," he proclaimed, and the audience responded with a roar. After a few jabs at recent Hollywood scandals, from a leaked email chain of a famous actress to an odd red carpet dress choice, he pivoted to the main guest. "Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we have a true legend. A man who needs no introduction, but I'm going to introduce him anyway because it's my job. Brad Pitt." The spotlight slid to the entrance, and Brad emerged, elegant in a navy blue suit with a subtle smile that sent the audience's hearts racing. He waved, took a seat in the guest chair, and leaned back with an easy confidence. The crowd cheered so loudly it seemed the studio walls might shake. "Brad, you look like you just stepped off the cover of GQ," Jimmy began, flashing his trademark grin. "Tell me, how do you manage to look younger than me when you're, 100 years old?" The audience laughed, and Brad smiled, shrugging. "The secret is drinking lots of water and avoiding talk shows where the host makes cracks about my age," he quipped, and the room erupted in laughter. The start was light, as expected. They discussed Shadows of Empire, a new historical epic where Brad played a warlord seeking redemption after years of conflict. He shared stories about filming in the Moroccan desert, the challenges of working with period costumes, and learning sword fighting. Jimmy seemed friendly, but there was a hint of something in his tone that made Alice, Brad's publicist watching from backstage, nervously clutch her tablet. The studio atmosphere remained warm, but an undercurrent of tension lingered, like the calm before a storm. Jimmy leaned back in his chair, holding a cue card, his smile sharpening, almost predatory. He tapped his fingers on the desk, as if preparing to strike. "So, Brad," he began, his voice light, but laced with a trace of menace. "Shadows of Empire is about redemption, right? A man trying to fix his mistakes. Have you ever felt like you needed to redeem yourself for something in your life?" The question seemed innocent, but Brad, with his decades of Hollywood experience, sensed the trap immediately. His eyes narrowed slightly, but he kept his composure, his voice steady. "You know, Jimmy, I think we all have moments where we think, maybe I could have done that better. But I try to live in a way that leaves little room for regret. Working on this film reminded me that true redemption isn't about fixing the past. It's about being better today." The audience applauded, moved by his sincerity. But Jimmy wasn't backing down. He leaned forward, his eyes glinting as if he'd caught the scent of a scoop. "That's a great answer, Brad. Very diplomatic. But let's be real, you're no saint, right? Everyone remembers your high-profile divorces." He paused, letting the words hang in the air, his voice dropping to a near-theatrical whisper. "Like that scandal with Angelina. You've never really told us what happened. Care to share with us now?" A hush fell over the studio. The audience, which had been laughing moments before, now murmured among themselves, sensing the rising tension. Backstage, Alice clenched her fists, her face paling. "That's not in the script," she muttered, glancing at producer Emma, who was frantically whispering into her headset. "Jimmy, what are you doing?" But Jimmy either didn't hear or didn't care. His smile widened, but there was something sinister in it. Brad tilted his head slightly, his smile fading, but he maintained his composure. "Jimmy, we agreed we wouldn't go there. My personal history isn't what I'm here to discuss. I'm here to talk about the film." His voice was calm, but there was a steel-like firmness that made a few audience members sit up straighter. Jimmy, however, wasn't stopping. He leaned back, spreading his arms as if addressing the crowd. "Oh, come on, Brad," he said, feigning a friendly tone but with an unmistakable edge of sarcasm. People want to know the real you. You can't hide behind those polished answers forever. What happened on that plane? Is it true that you— He lowered his voice, mimicking a dramatic whisper. Got a little carried away with the drinks? Or was there something more? Come on, Brad. Give us a little truth. The audience gasped. A few nervous laughs broke out, but most sat in tense silence, sensing a line had been crossed. The camera operators exchanged uneasy glances, their equipment humming as they captured every moment. Alice, backstage, grabbed her head, whispering, "He promised not to touch that topic." Producer Emma, standing nearby, began furiously typing on her phone, trying to reach the show's director. "This is a disaster," she muttered. Brad sat motionless, his fingers lightly gripping the armrests of his chair. He looked at Jimmy, then at the audience, and for a moment it seemed he was weighing whether to continue. But he spoke, his voice slow and measured, yet brimming with strength. "Jimmy, I respect your work. I respect this studio, this audience. But you know those topics were off limits. You gave your word, and I thought you were a man who kept his word." Jimmy, sensing he was losing control, doubled down. He laughed, but it was forced, almost nervous. "Oh, Brad, come on, this is show business. People want drama, not boring talk about swords and deserts. You're a Hollywood star. You live for this, don't you? Or are you afraid we'll find out who you really are? Is that good guy image just a mask?" The words hit like a slap. The audience fell silent, realizing Jimmy had gone too far. Alice backstage began speaking rapidly into her phone. "We're pulling him off the stage if this doesn't stop." One of the camera operators, a young guy named Tim, whispered to a colleague, "This is going to end badly." Even the house band, usually quick to play off Jimmy's jokes, sat quietly, their instruments untouched. Brad took a slow breath, his eyes locked on Jimmy. "You think you can dig into someone's life for a few seconds of laughs?" he asked, his voice quiet but cutting through the studio like a blade. "You think you can humiliate someone because you've got a stage and a microphone? That's not show business, Jimmy. That's a lack of respect." Jimmy, feeling the pressure, tried to steer the conversation back to humor. "Oh, Brad, don't be so serious. It's just entertainment. People love it when we dig a little deeper. Right, folks?" He turned to the audience, hoping for support, but received only a smattering of hesitant applause. Most of the crowd was watching Brad, waiting for his response. Brad slowly rose from his chair. His movements were calm, but they carried an undeniable strength. He looked at Jimmy, then at the audience, and when he spoke, his voice was low but resonated through the studio like thunder. "Jimmy, I came here with respect for you, your team, and your audience. I came to share a story that matters to me. But you chose to turn this into a circus. You think you can demean someone for ratings? That you can rummage through someone's life because you've got a microphone?" He paused, his gaze piercing Kimmel. "I'm not your clown, and I won't let you turn my story into a cheap spectacle." The audience erupted in applause. Some stood, cheering in support of Brad. Jimmy, caught off guard, tried to salvage the moment. "Brad, come on, it's just jokes. No need to—" "No, Jimmy," Brad interrupted, his voice even firmer. "This isn't jokes. This is a lack of respect, and I'm not going to stand for it." He turned to the audience. "Thank you for your support, but I can't stay where there's no respect." With that, he removed his microphone, placed it on the desk, and walked off the stage to deafening applause. Jimmy sat stunned, his smile gone. The cameras kept rolling, but a chaotic silence settled over the studio. Emma backstage shouted into her headset, "Cut it! Cut the feed!" But it was too late. As soon as the show ended, social media exploded. The hashtag #Brad Pitt walkout went viral within minutes. On Twitter, now X, users shared clips from the broadcast, calling Brad a hero for his dignity and slamming Jimmy for his unprofessionalism. "Brad Pitt just showed what real strength looks like. Jimmy Kimmel is a disgrace," one user wrote. Another added, "That wasn't an interview, it was a trap." Respect Brad. Celebrities chimed in with support. Ryan Reynolds posted, "Brad Pitt is class." "Jimmy, learn to keep your mouth shut." Oprah Winfrey shared a lengthy post about the importance of respect in media, calling Brad's actions a moment of truth. Meanwhile, Jimmy Kimmel Live came under fire. Sponsors began pulling ads, and ABC announced an internal investigation. The show's ratings plummeted, and media outlets ran headlines like, "Is Jimmy Kimmel's era over?" and "When talk shows cross the line." Jimmy posted an apology on X, but it was seen as too little, too late. "I didn't mean to offend anyone," he wrote, but the comments were brutal. "You knew what you were doing. This isn't a joke." Brad, for his part, remained silent, but his actions spoke volumes. Shadows of Empire gained extra attention, and the film's premiere became an event discussed not just for its quality, but for the principles of the man behind it. Hollywood sparked broader conversations about ethics in entertainment, cancel culture, and the boundaries that shouldn't be crossed. Brad Pitt became a symbol of dignity in an industry where respect often takes a backseat to ratings. Weeks later, Brad sat in his favorite Los Angeles coffee shop, reading a script for a new project. His phone buzzed with notifications, but he ignored them. Alice, his publicist, sat across from him, smiling. "Did you know our Brad Pitt walkout is still trending?" she asked. Brad shrugged, his eyes calm and steady. "I wasn't thinking about trends, Alice. I was thinking about what's right." This moment will be remembered as a testament to true strength of character. Not loud, not showy, but the kind that changes everything. What do you think of this moment? Would you have supported Brad? Do you believe talk shows should have boundaries? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories.